Hi, I'm Eileen.
Hi, I'm Amy.
Hi, I'm Claire.
Welcome to the other realm, into the world of crystals. So today we are going to talk about how to choose crystals. And in that, I want to show you guys a TikTok video that was sent to me.
Yeah, one scoop of Lowry. Oh, my Lady Gaga, yowza. Yeah. And my pumpkin head and my fire corns. Here we go. Yeah, you go to my same size sapphire, yowza. Just like mine, I mean, bigger than mine. Yes. And my tower, you go to my set. Look at this. Yes.
Looks like gentle jokes are in.
I did too much meditation with my tower last night. Broke, one scoop. Yeah, broke. Wake up, broke. Yeah, one scoop for broke. Okay, one more tower for you. One more sapphire, okay?
I think it's just like sand and then they just mixed like the crystals together because how her process is she uses a scoop. Whatever she scoops up and when she puts it on the sieve, the sand gets gets drained out, gets sieved out. Then whatever the crystal is left is whoever had just paid for.
Okay,
those
so
crystals.
you don't sell crystals like that, right?
No.
Yeah, you are like a more customized sort of.
Yeah, this is a very high class one. Yeah, but the crystals there are also mainly polished crystals. So you can see there are spheres, there is like towers and everything. So that's why she's able to do the lucky draw like that.
Yeah.
If you're using raw crystals, you can't do that. You will damage the raw crystal.
So does the machine traumatize the polished crystals?
It looks like.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Because you're knocking against each other.
So like the more manhandled it is, the worse it becomes.
Of course, if you are a human and you're in a very packed MRT versus an MRT where it's just you can sit down, do you feel trauma? Of course you feel trauma.
I hate this so much. With this, let's start talking about how to choose crystals. But I'm always interested in how Claire goes and source her crystals and like what does she determine?
I will definitely watch out for the energy first.
Okay.
Energy of the crystals and then the energy of the owner.
Okay.
But usually when you look at the energy of the crystals, right, you can more or less gauge what is the owner's energy like already.
Like for example, like what kind of owners do you look for?
Basically they have to be ethical.
Ethical.
Yeah, that's one. Second thing is that they actually sees the value in crystals.
Okay.
And how it benefits people.
Okay.
And not just as a product.
Okay.
Like to sell and earn the money, that's it.
I think as crystal lovers, I resonate this like with Claire because crystals are like our babies. Like for Claire, when she sources a crystal for her clients, it's almost as if she is like the adopted mother. And she's helping to connect the right child, the right baby to like the right parent.
She's a crystal fosterer.
I'm a lot of things.
Oh my!
Except she charges for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay. Is there any tools that you use?
Besides testing the energy, I'll use the pendulum to see like which are the crystals that actually wants to go home with me or wants to be like passed on to someone else.
If you do not know how to use a pendulum, we have a video that you can check out so that you can use the same process if you like to find out if the crystal wants to go home with you on a Friday night after 5 alcohols.
5 alcohols.
Just kidding!
I shall pick
This one is for you.
So I'll ask, does this crystal wants to go home with me? So it's like clockwise, it means yes or positive.
Because that's her crystal.
Yes, that's her crystal.
Okay, so this is
My crystal.
so let's see what you can ask if it wants to go home
Okay.
with you.
Does this paradox wants to go home with me?
No.
It's
And
a
they
very
clockwise.
obvious no.
Yeah.
Oh my god, such a big no!
Yeah, it's like, no, save me.
So small but feisty.
Yeah.
Actually, all crystals, they have voices. So for example, crystal keepers like Claire and also for myself who is very strongly connected with crystal, we can literally hear like the air. So for me, my personal process of choosing crystals, because I'm a collector, right, is I can walk into any shop and then I can hear crystals like shouting out like to me or calling me, and then I will go. So in fact, there's a very weird incident. There was one time I was at Batam and I was at the ferry terminal, and there is this very weird like shop that sells all sorts of knickknacks, but it's not a crystal shop. And I heard this very distinct two voices shouting at me, and it's not human, it's crystal, like they're shouting for help. So I followed the voice and I went into this really almost like a provision shop kind of thing. And in the dark corner, like very dusty, was this two very beautiful crystal. I got them for super cheap. Cause I think the owner doesn't even know what he has. Yeah. And then when I came back, I just like kept them. But one of them wanted to go with one of my clients, so I just sold it. Yeah. So for me, like that was how I usually choose for my own collection, or like I know like I'm helping or saving the crystals. Yeah.
So do they like have high pitch or low pitch voices? Like
Depends.
oh no.
No, they have different voices. They are like humans.
Really?
So they sound like very different.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then sometimes, and there even some they cannot speak, and you can only still vibration. So like when I go to some large suppliers and sometimes they have boxes of crystal, and I can just feel like there is some vibration that's attracting me there. And then usually I will like just put my hand over it and then I'll reach in and somehow I will pick out a crystal that is like calling out to me, but mutely. I think it's because there's too many crystals. They are like mute, like muted.
What do they say? Do they say like, hey, Ermi? Do they know your name?
No, so some of them actually do.
Oh my God.
So the one in the Batam ferry terminal is just help, help. I think it's just desperate.
Desperate. Doesn't matter
Desperate
who.
calling out for help, you know. In one of my friends' crystal shop in Bangkok, where I always go before COVID to go and buy like stuff, his crystals actually know my name.
Because you always go to the shop.
Yeah, I always go to the shop, and then they will actually say, hi, look at me.
Cute. Oh my goodness, because they want to be brought home.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Eileen.
They may
You don't
choose not to know.
Can I? Okay, I'm going to ask one of your crystals if they want to go home with me, just for kicks, okay? I can feel all of them saying no. They're like, no, out. I really like this, so I'm going to ask.
Maybe if the crystal lie down, it will be more compliant.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to ask this crystal if he wants to go home with me because I like it, but I might not be its owner. We'll see what this crystal says. I was trying to see if I can hear it. Hello, do you want to go home with me? No.
No, sorry.
Yeah, I feel all
Is this your
them
personal
saying no.
Yeah.
collection?
Oh, this is your personal
Yes.
collection.
Hey, how
Maybe you
about
have to
give her
test.
one with this?
Okay,
Which one is for
Uh,
sale?
This one.
This one.
This one?
Okay.
Okay, I do like this
Fluoride.
too. What does this do?
Protection against entity.
Well, maybe I need this. Okay.
And also creativity.
Yes.
Can enhance creativity.
Do I get a 10% discount? Why must you wait so long? Okay.
Sure.
Only if it wants to go back with
Yeah,
you.
if you want to go back, you know.
Does this crystal want to go back with me?
No. No.
Fine.
So,
不是你的。
Can we be friends? At least? Okay, fine. Later, as we go along, I will check.
next time you try with pricing. If I pay X amount of
Do you
dollars,
think they care? Does the
try,
crystal
you
care
try.
about pricing?
sometimes they do
How
because
much is
it's
this?
like how much do you value them.
Oh, I
It's just like you're trying to date someone, right? If you bring them to eat in a hawker center, they may respond to you much less than if you bring them to a Michelin star
Would you
restaurant.
like to go to a restaurant with me? I'll sit opposite the crystal, have a conversation with it.
Or you probably can beg the crystal to go home.
Please, accept me.
Desperate.
I need validation in my life. Maybe I should get the rose quartz because I need validation. Okay, so how much is this crystal?
It's retailing for about $98.
Okay, so in order to show that I value her, I will ask if I can bring her home for 120.
Still a bit low.
Lovely. Can I bring you home for $120? Still don't know. You know what? I'll pursue someone else, okay? Fine. whatever. Do not go chasing what does not want you in life. I wanted to also ask if visually we can see how to choose crystals.
Oh yes, of course. Okay, but usually different people have different perspective of the crystals lah.
Okay.
So usually for us at Mystiquecherry, we will see the quality, definitely how clear the crystal is, and we'll also look for any like special or unique points of the crystal. So some they have like rainbows.
So for example, this one has rainbows, right?
Yeah, this one has rainbows. So rainbows are like fractures within the stone itself. And then also any colors or any additional inclusion in the crystals. So with this fluorite, we can see the purple color banding over here. So it's only like this portion of the fluorite.
I think what I like about Claire's like crystals is that she is very particular about quality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Claire and she's a very sus person.
Yeah, so Claire has such a high level of sus that she's able to not just look at the energetic qualities of the crystal, but also like the visual and the aesthetic. And I can tell you, not a lot of people understand aesthetics when it comes to crystals. For example, Eileen only likes the genital looking. High level of
unique
sus,
taste.
no sus. High level of sus, no sus.
What about sense of touch?
Touch meaning to feel the energy
Touch as in touching.
or like physically.
Yeah.
You can.
What about sensing vibrations?
Oh yes, you can do it. Actually, you don't even have to touch it. You just leave it on like
Yeah.
the surface, then you just put
Just hover.
you just put your hand over it. Maybe you can try this one.
This one?
Yes.
Because some people actually have sweaty hands,
Oh.
so sometimes that can affect how you sense the crystals.
They all saying no, whatever. Okay.
Particular one is how I picked this was because I felt the energy was very strong and gives me a very warm kind of feeling.
Okay.
So I actually brought it home.
So you think that is this yours or
It's
yours?
mine.
So yours your own
Personal collection.
No wonder they keep saying no. In the previous video, Claire helped me to choose this crystal for wealth, for opening doors of opportunities.
Yes.
And this to maintain good relationship with my clients. So let's say, right, I have these crystals and I bring it home. Like, what do I do with them?
Okay, so at Mystiquecherry, we can actually help you to program the crystals if you want to. Like, we'll program the crystals to infuse your intention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that you want.
So if I want to be super kiasu, can I, on my work desk, and then I buy like 50 of each, and then make one entire circle around my work desk?
You can try.
You can try,
But you
but-
might as well invest in buying one really nice big one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, at
because
least, you know,
This
when
is the
you...
part where you all can tell me can quit.
so you can invest in one big one, or if you find that, like in this case here, you have a few things that you want to do. You're not just wanting to attract opportunities, you also want to attract better clients, you want to be able to keep the money and everything. Then in that case, we would actually suggest you do a grid.
Which we will have grid courses in our DIY series, and the link will be in description. Is there a place where you shouldn't really put crystals, like in the house?
I wouldn't recommend my clients to put their crystals in the toilet, especially because the toilet is where we actually detox like a lot. All this energy that is detoxed from you, it will be absorbed by the crystal itself.
Okay, so actually the crystal, when you put it in whatever parts of your house, it actually helps to absorb negative energies.
It depends on what crystal you put.
I see. Okay, so I was saying that there are two types of crystal buyers. For yours, are they more collector types or healer types? Like, how does it work?
We actually do both because we do mostly customization for the clients. So whenever Mystiquecherry receives a DM or an order, right, we will actually speak to the client to see what are the areas that they want to address, and then we will recommend based on the color they prefer, if they have and then also the budget.
In our next episode, we'll talk about how to choose crystals part 2, but we'll talk about what is the difference between raw and polished. And how can you know if you are getting good crystals if you are buying online and more. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.